Ladies and gentlemen, you walk with power in your veins but chains in your mind. You carry dreams too big for this world, yet you settle for validation from a screen. I did not come here to entertain you. I did not come here to tell you what you want to hear. I came to disturb your comfort, to disrupt your silence, to remind you that you were not born to be average, you were born to shake the ground beneath your feet. This is not just a message, it is a call to war. A war against laziness, a war against excuses, a war against the mental slavery that keeps a powerful generation weak, silent, and disconnected from its destiny. If you hear these words with your ears, they will fade, but if you hear them with your soul, they will set you on fire. They told you that you were just a consumer, that your only role was to sit, scroll, follow, like, and obey. But I am here to tell you that you were never born to be a slave to systems. You were never born to survive. You were born to create. You were born to build, to lead, to invent, to write, to speak, to design, to solve, to disrupt, to awaken. Inside you is not just potential, inside you is fire. But the tragedy is this: too many of our youth have forgotten who they are, hypnotized by screens and sedated by comfort. A generation created for impact has been reduced to a generation chasing entertainment. You were not born to consume noise, you were born to produce meaning. Every second you spend watching the lives of others is a second stolen from building your own. They trained you to be a follower, not a leader. They trained you to be addicted to what others post instead of creating something worth posting yourself. The system does not want creators, it wants obedient, distracted, reactive people, people who never think. People who never question, people who never rise. But the fire of creation, that divine spark, is still alive in you. It has been buried, but not broken. It has been silenced, but not extinguished. You must reach in and pull it out again. The phone in your hand was made by a creator. The clothes you wear, the platforms you scroll, the music you listen to, all made by minds that chose to produce, not just consume. And every time you ignore your gift to worship someone else's, you bury the future inside you. You think success is only for others, but the only difference between them and you is that they decided. They decided to create. They decided to act. They decided to believe, and belief, followed by bold action, turns dreams into reality. Our generation is drowning in imitation. Everyone wants to be like someone else. Everyone wants to follow the crowd. But history does not remember those who blended in. It remembers those who stood out. Those who were laughed at before they were praised. Those who were doubted before they were celebrated. Creation requires courage. It requires stepping away from the crowd and choosing your own path. The youth who will change the world is not the one with the most followers, but the one with the clearest vision and the deepest conviction. Creation is not easy. It demands struggle. It demands long nights and silent sacrifices. It demands that you turn off the noise, face yourself, and build from the inside out. But it is in that struggle that power is born. It is in that quiet creation that legacies are written. The world has enough reactors. It is waiting for initiators. It is waiting for youth who can design solutions, who can write new futures, who can reshape economies, who can break generational curses through the power of creation. You were not given this mind, this body, this heart, this fire just to survive from paycheck to paycheck or to post for applause. You were born to plant something on this earth that outlives you. You were born to shift cultures, to awaken minds, to shake systems. But the question is, will you step into your power, or will you scroll your life away? Will you consume until you are numb, or will you create until the world remembers your name? The enemy of your destiny is not failure, it is passivity. It is waking up every day without intention, without a plan, without a fire. The one who does not create eventually crumbles, because when you stop building, you start breaking. When you stop producing, you start consuming your own time, your own future, your own soul. You were created by a creator to be a creator, not a clone. You carry within you ideas the world has never seen, music it has never heard, stories it has never read, solutions it has never touched. But the world will never know what you carry unless you have the courage to create. They may not support you at first. They may laugh. They may scroll past you, but keep creating, keep building, keep becoming, because one day the very same people who ignored your beginning will study your legacy. The fire you carry is not for decoration, it is for disruption. And when the youth realize that creation is their weapon, their power, their voice, that is when the world will begin to burn with something new. They will tell you to fit in. They will tell you to walk like them, talk like them, think like them, and dream only as far as they allow. But let me tell you something with no apology: if you follow the crowd, you will be lost in it. If you walk the path everyone else is walking, you will never find yourself. Because the road to greatness does not begin where the majority stand. It begins where the brave dare to walk alone. The crowd is comfortable. The crowd is safe. But the crowd is average, and if you were born to lead, to build, to shift, to break cycles, then the crowd is your enemy. This generation is under pressure to conform. You are told what to wear, what to believe, how to speak, what success looks like. They give you a box and ask you to shrink inside it. But the fire inside the youth cannot live in a box. You were never designed to be contained. You were created to disturb patterns. And yet, every day, young minds are choosing silence over truth, fear over courage, imitation over authenticity, all to be accepted by a world that has no intention of remembering them. Greatness begins where the crowd ends. Every inventor, every thinker, every revolutionary that shifted this world first had to walk alone, first had to be laughed at, first had to be misunderstood. Because when your vision is different, they will not understand. When your pace is different, they will question you. But don't lose yourself trying to be liked. Don't kill your voice trying to sound like everyone else. You were not born to echo. You were born to speak with sound that shakes foundations. It is easy to follow. It is easy to hide behind numbers, behind trends, behind what is popular. But it is hard to be original. It is hard to say no when everyone says yes. It is hard to turn left when the whole world turns right. But it is only the one who turns away from the crowd that discovers what the crowd will never find: purpose. You cannot find your identity in a place built for blending in. And if you don't stand out, you will never be known for anything more than being part of the noise. The crowd will always tell you that you are wrong for being different, but what they really mean is that your courage exposes their fear, your boldness exposes their comfort, your refusal to conform challenges their laziness. And so, instead of rising, they will try to drag you back. But you must be deaf to the crowd when you're chasing your calling. Let them laugh, let them doubt, let them misunderstand. Because one day they will see what you were building while they were busy blending. The youth must understand that influence is not in numbers, it is in conviction. You do not need everyone to agree with you. You just need the courage to stand. Even if you are the only one standing, stand with truth. Stand with purpose. Stand with fire. Because the moment you stop chasing acceptance, you start attracting respect. And respect is not given to those who follow, it is given to those who lead, even when the path is lonely. Some of you are called to lead in business, in art, in thought, in justice, in reform, in technology, in education, in truth. But you will never walk in that power if you are still begging to be liked by people who don't even like themselves. Stop lowering your volume so the insecure feel comfortable. Stop playing small so the mediocre don't feel threatened. Your light is not a burden, it's a weapon, and the ones who fear your brightness will always try to dim it. But remember, the ones who change the world are never the ones who fit in. They are the ones who rise, who rebel, who redefine what is possible. It is not your job to please the world. It is your job to shake it. If you follow the crowd, you will become invisible. But if you follow purpose, even in silence, your name will echo through history. The world will tell you to chase pleasure. It will teach you that happiness lies in the temporary, that fulfillment is found in the next thrill, the next purchase, the next applause. But what they won't tell you is this pleasure is loud in the beginning and empty in the end. Purpose, on the other hand, is often silent in the beginning but echoes for eternity. A generation that chooses pleasure over purpose will shine quickly but fade even faster. But a generation that embraces purpose will suffer for a season and lead for a lifetime. The difference between those who rise and those who vanish is not luck, it is what they choose to pursue. Look around you. The youth are being sold the lie that success is in what you wear, how many followers you have, how much attention you can grab. They are being programmed to believe that pleasure is the reward, but pleasure without purpose is poison. It gives you moments of joy, but robs you of meaning. It feels good in the moment, but it empties your soul over time. Purpose, however, builds slowly, painfully, but permanently, and though it may not bring instant applause, it brings lasting honor. The youth who will change this world are not the ones who chase feelings, but the ones who commit to function. Purpose requires pain. It requires discipline. It requires a clear mind and a strong heart. Pleasure is easy. Purpose is earned. The youth must choose whether they want to feel good or live right, whether they want to impress the world or impact it. Because the one who lives for pleasure will be controlled by comfort, but the one who chooses purpose learns to control himself, and whoever can control himself can lead others. You cannot lead others if you are a slave to your own desires. You cannot shape the world when you cannot even manage your own time, your own habits, your own emotions. Purpose does not shout, it whispers, it calls you in the quiet, it pulls you when you're alone. But pleasure screams, it distracts, it pulls you away from destiny, and many of us are being pulled away by comfort, by distraction, by false urgency. But hear me clearly, the cost of chasing pleasure is your potential. You cannot become who you were born to be while you are addicted to comfort. You cannot create legacy while you are busy seeking likes. Pleasure keeps you stagnant. Purpose makes you move. There will come a moment in every young person's life where you must decide, will I continue running from pain into the arms of distraction, or will I run through pain toward destiny, because the road of purpose is narrow. It is lonely, it is often invisible, but it is the only road that leads to fulfillment. True fulfillment does not come from what you receive, but from what you contribute, and you cannot contribute to this world while drowning in your own selfishness. Some of you were born to lead movements, to build nations, to raise families, to launch ideas that change generations. But you will never see that future if you cannot say no to temporary pleasure. You must learn to sacrifice now so you can stand later. You must understand that what feels good is not always good, that what pleases your flesh often poisons your purpose. You cannot be a king and live like a clown. You cannot be a queen and think like a child. Your calling demands maturity, and maturity is not in age, it is in decisions. The greatest lie the world sells the youth is that there is no difference between pleasure and joy, but there is. Pleasure is the cheap imitation. It fades when the music stops. Joy is born when you know you're living for something bigger than yourself. You want fire, find your purpose. You want strength, embrace your calling. You want to live loud. Die to distractions, because the most dangerous youth is not the one with money or noise, it is the one who walks in purpose with quiet fire in their bones. It will not be easy. You will lose friends. You will lose moments. You will miss out on trends, but what you gain will be greater. You will gain peace. You will gain focus. You will gain identity. You will gain legacy. So let them party. Let them scroll. Let them waste time. You rise, you move, you build, and let the fire of your purpose burn so loud that even those drowning in pleasure stop to watch you rise. They do not fear your noise. They do not fear your rebellion. They do not fear your hashtags, your slogans, or your protests. What they fear, truly fear, is a youth that thinks, because when the youth begin to think, everything begins to shift. The chains of mental slavery break. The systems built on silence begin to shake. The lies passed down for generations start to collapse. A thinking youth is a threat to every structure built to keep you blind, weak, and obedient. That is why they keep you distracted. That is why they keep you addicted. Because if you ever stopped to think, really think, you would realize that the power they claim to have was yours all along. The system does not want educated minds, it wants programmed minds. It does not want questions, it wants compliance. It rewards obedience, not originality. It teaches you what to think, not how to think. It tells you what success is, who to follow, what to wear, what to chase. It gives you a definition of greatness that fits within their system. But you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to break molds, not submit to them. When the youth start thinking, they stop following. When the youth start thinking, they stop begging. When the youth start thinking, they start building. They gave you screens so you would stop reading. They gave you trends so you would stop learning. They filled your day with noise so you would never hear your inner voice. Because silence breeds thought, and thought breeds change, and change is what they fear most. They don't fear your strength. They fear your clarity, because a mind that can think clearly cannot be controlled. A mind that sees truth cannot be manipulated. A youth with wisdom becomes a leader, not a follower, and a generation of such youth becomes a revolution. Think about it. If they truly wanted you to grow, why do they not teach you how to manage your mind? Why do they not teach you your history? Why do they not teach you how to create wealth, how to lead with purpose, how to master your emotions? Why do they not teach you how to build your nation, how to unite your people, how to think beyond survival? Because an awakened mind no longer fits in the system. An awakened mind does not obey blindly. An awakened mind becomes its own system, and they fear that more than anything. Look around you. Look at your schools, your media, your music, your role models. How many are challenging your thinking? How many are building your mind? How many are provoking your greatness? Or are they simply entertaining you while your future rots? If you are not careful, you will grow up believing that education is about passing exams, not unlocking truth. You will believe that information is intelligence, that speaking is thinking, that memorizing is mastery, but none of it will lead you to freedom, because freedom starts where thought begins. A powerful youth is not the loudest in the room, it is the one who knows where he is going. A powerful youth is not the one who has the most followers, it is the one who knows how to lead even when no one follows. A powerful youth is not the one who rebels without purpose, it is the one who questions with wisdom, who studies with discipline, who sees beyond the surface. That youth cannot be stopped, that youth cannot be silenced, that youth cannot be bought. So I say this to you, do not let them make you afraid of thinking. Do not let them convince you that curiosity is dangerous, that intelligence is arrogance, that questioning is disobedience. Think deeper, read harder, ask bolder, seek more, because when your mind becomes strong, your voice becomes impossible to ignore, and when enough youth begin to think for themselves, empires fall, corruption trembles. Injustice shatters, because nothing is more dangerous to oppression than an awakened generation. This is why they fear you, not because of your anger, but because of your awareness, not because of your protest, but because of your principles. Not because of your voice, but because of your mind. They know that once your thoughts become aligned with your purpose, you will no longer need their approval. You will no longer need their permission. You will no longer be controlled. You will rise, you will build, you will lead.